The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at another brand new Star Wars The Vintage Collection action figure, that being R2-SHW from Star Wars Rogue One, also known as Antoc Merrick's astromech droid that he flew in his X-Wing during the Battle of Scarif at the very end of the film. But real quick, before we take a look at the figure, let's look at the packaging. So up here at the top, we have the very nice Rogue One trade, all done up in that very nice deep crimson red that we see for Star Wars The Vintage Collection. We have R2-SHW there, Antoc Merrick's droid, a nice artistic and or 3D render of the droid itself. I'm not quite sure if this is a screenshot from the movie. I don't believe it is. The backing of the figure is done in yellow, as well as the backing of the nameplate is yellow. Kenner trades down there. On the back of the card, we have some of the other figures in the wave. We have Cal Kestis, who I'm going to get at some point, R2 himself. Obi-Wan, who I have. Luke, who I'm going to get. The Clatonian Raider, who I don't care for. Belsartha from Andor, who I might get. Cassian from Andor. And then the Artillery Stormtrooper, which I might also get. I'm not sure. It's up in the air. Down at the bottom, we have the legal jargon that no one gets the shit about, and then that's pretty much it. I say it in every single video, folks. You only really care about the packaging if you are a carded collector, of which I'm not. I'm here to review a toy, and that's what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze. Now, here is R2 himself, at least I presume himself. Taking a quick look at the figure here, we have the, and let me back this up so you can get some more light on the angles here. We have a normal R2 astromech dome piece, done up in nice silver and black, as well as some orange highlights for where there would be, you know, lights and things of that nature glowing. You have a hole in the top of the head, which I'm not quite sure what it does, what the function of this is. I'll show you all the functions, of course, in a second here, but after I go for the detail, but I'm not sure why there's a little hole there. I haven't figured it out quite yet. The body of the droid, however, is done in a nice deep red, which I absolutely adore. There's also lots of nice black and silver detailings all throughout on these little tiny parts, which are picked out in paint, as well as on the cables, on the stabilizers, more silver and black detail. Essentially all of this detailing is silver and black, and red, of course, obviously, because red's the base color. But that's basically it for the body. It's very simple, I'll tell you that for sure. On the bottom, of course, we have these two little sets of wheels, which roll if you feel them, but if you scrape them against the floor, I mean, you're not really going to feel them moving. As well as, for whatever reason, on the middle kickstand, there is no wheels, which I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's for a figure base. I don't know, because this figure stands up just fine without a base, right? You know, you can see that go wee and all that stuff. As for the articulation of this figure, well, we have a bit of it. It's not, of course, the standard Vintage Collection articulation that we're all so used to now, but there is a little bit of interesting detail first. So real quick, as you can see, I've been fiddling with it for the last few minutes because it seems to always be coming open. We have this little compartment in R2's chest here, in which we can probably, I think, pull out this little gizmo, and this, to me at least, and it's curved, which is annoying because it curved around the center of the body in transport. It looks to me like a flamethrower. It might be a spot welder, but I know for a fact that it's not like the mechanical arm that R2 units usually use to open doors. It's just not what it looks like. This looks like a flamethrower. So I'm going to assume it's a flamethrower. If it's not, correct me in the comments. I'm always happy to hear some comments. So just keep me informed. But that's that, and that only, of course, has one point of articulation right there at the arm. As well as, for whatever reason, you have a elevated camera piece here, the one that like R2 has, and R2-D2 at least has on a Dagobah when he goes into the swamp. This piece is removable. There is a little hole in there. You can barely even see it. Maybe from the right angle. Yeah, you can kind of see it right in there. But that hole goes all the way through the head. So if you have this piece inside of the dome piece, and I'll let you watch this, it pushes out the kickstand, so you can't have the kickstand up and have the head move. The head is completely limited by this piece. If you want to have the head rotate anymore, you have to remove that piece and let the head spin freely. It's very strange, and even then, it doesn't even go full 360. It can only go about that far looking left and that far looking right, which is very strange to me. I'm not quite sure why. That's about it for the functions of the figure. Of course, like I said, you can only get that much on the dome piece. However, both of the arms can go all the way around 360. They can't go out or anything, but you can also get a little bit of pivot at the stabilizers down there, as well as at the center stabilizer. But that is essentially it for the articulation. This is a very basic figure. I mean, doing a review of an astromech droid is not the easiest thing in the world to do because they're so simple in nature. But I guess, we can figure it out, That's just how it is. So let's now get into the size comparison of this figure and show you exactly how R2-SHW stacks up with other figures from the Vintage Collection line. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. Now here is R2-SHW compared to another droid. This is R4-P17, or Obi-Wan's astromech droid from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. R4 is just a little bit bigger than this R2 unit. That's mainly just due to the different scales that we have seen over the years for these droids, whether they be absolutely huge or tiny. This is a figure from 2005. This is a figure from 2022, so you kind of get it. Here is R2 next to his friend, Antoc Merrick, who is the blue leader from Star Wars Rogue One. And here they all are compared to the golden standard of action figures himself, Dark Times Darth Vader from Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's how they all stack up together. Before we get on to the final comparison, let me actually do one more freeze frame and show you what R2-SHW looks like inside of Antoc Merrick's X-Wing. So freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. So here is Antoc Merrick's X-Wing, and here is R2 himself. All we need to do to get R2 ready to go in there is actually just pop up that middle leg. Even though you don't really need to, I just think it's better to do it because that's what they do it in the movies. And you just take him over to this pod and drop him in. And now we have a fully completed X-Wing silhouette. So R2 is just in there, having a good old time. Antoc Merrick's flying. All is well. It's this kind of little tiny detail that I think we as collectors truly appreciate. I would have, of course, loved if I didn't have to track this guy down after the fact when I bought this X-Wing, because finding it was hard enough to do. Hasbro has been known to make some questionable business decisions when it comes to the release dates of their figures. I'm at the point where I'm used to it. It's annoying, but I'm used to it. But before I ramble and give away a little bit too much about what I think about this figure, let's actually do another freeze frame and get on to the final thoughts. So freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. Now, this figure is just sort of meh. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. It's definitely a really good astromech droid, but compared to the other figures that we were getting in this line, it just feels like this, really? The main complaint I have about this figure isn't about the figure itself. It's that it costs, depending on where you get it from, almost $3 full more to buy this figure than it would be to buy, say, this figure. That's right. Retail, this figure costs more than this one, which blows my mind because it's like half the plastic, half the features, and half the recognition. It's really annoying, in my opinion. I just don't understand. More than that, why didn't this come with Antoc Merrick's X-Wing? It would have made so much more sense. We wouldn't have had to wait for it. But of course, Hasbro did get their extra $16 from us, so I guess we understood what they really were after when they released this figure. Which is, of course, always going to be annoying to me, but I'm used to their shady business practices already. I'm sure you are too. Anyway, if you like astromech droids, if you like Star Wars Rogue One, if you like Antoc, Merrick, or X-Wings, or any of that kind of stuff in general, make sure you share this video with all your friends. Make sure you share with all your Facebook groups. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. It always helps the channel grow, helps these videos keep coming out. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace.